Hi everybody and welcome into my channel. My name is Bloom and welcome to Blooming Woman. To all of my returning subscribers, welcome back into another video where today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the goddess Sekhmet. And this is a goddess of ancient Egyptian, the goddess inside of Kemet. Okay, she has a really strong importance and she definitely has an importance to you subscribers because some of you know, when I do my intuitive readings now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys and address the categories with you guys by the actual deities as opposed to today's modern day zodiac sign, okay? So this video is just to further help all of my subscribers and everyone who's coming into this video understand more about Sekhmet and why she is in place of the Leo constellation when it comes to astrology and astronomically speaking, okay? And even the characteristics of the goddess herself and why that takes upon that place of the Leo star alignment, all right? So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what we can learn about Sekhmet. All right, so let's get started. Let's get straight into it. Some of you guys may already know that I am doing all my intuitive readings with the new names or the original names, however you want to look at it, okay, of the star alignment, the star constellations, and the phenomenon of precession, okay? So that's going to be your zodiac sign is what you guys know as zodiac sign. When I do my intuitive readings now, I'm going to address you guys by the ancient Kemetic names versus what was basically stolen from Egypt and recreated. Most of the deities and most of the goddesses and the mythology was recreated and reinvented. And there are original deities that are inside of ancient Egypt history and inside their texts and their books. And those original deities have taken the place of some of the star alignments in what we know and we call zodiac signs in today's society, okay? And there's even certain things and certain deities and gods and goddesses that take upon a lot of the characteristics, a lot of the imagery, and full on a lot of the zodiac signs within the astrology. So I will be replacing all of my names, going from using Aries and Taurus to what I believe is actually the original name, and to really put African spirituality up there and dig up what has been stolen and put it back in its rightful place. And people can choose what it is they choose to view and what they choose to believe. Everyone has their own opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But I just want all my viewers to know exactly why I'm making this video and what it's about if you did not already see my previous videos where I was telling you guys about this. All right, so I do have notes. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I am some type of astrologer or some type of historian or that I know all the facts about Kemet when this was a long time ago and not everybody knows all the facts. Some of it you have to put the pieces back together, okay? So I've done my research on Sekhmet and I've gathered a bunch of information. I've talked to some people who have more knowledge than me when it comes to Kemet, and I've gone off of what they base their Egyptian script Zodiac, they don't really call it that, but what they consider their Twa sign, okay, their star sign, based off of the Egyptian deities' names. And then I went and dove into each deity and got my own interpretation of what I believe it is. And yeah, this is what it's gonna be. So this is going to be about Sekhmet. Guys, I'm getting there. So these are all the notes that I had, and I'm gonna go off of it, all right? Usually I don't go off of notes, but in this video, definitely am going to be going off of notes, so that way I don't miss any of the important information, especially since a lot of it is very new to me, and I'm really excited about it, okay? So, first thing I want to talk about is who is Sekhmet, okay? So Sekhmet is the goddess. She's that goddess that has the lioness head. So she has a lioness head, and then she has a lady's body, okay? And she basically is a goddess that came from Tefnut. So one of the things you'll come to realize when it comes to Egyptians, deities and goddesses, is basically a lot of the goddesses take forms of other goddesses. So they basically transform into other goddesses. Just like how in my previous video I did with the Kemetic Pisces about the 4 different forms of Ra, Tefnut has 3 forms. One is Bastet, one is Tefnut, and then one is Sekhmet, okay? So Sekhmet is basically like an extension of Tefnut. So it's basically like a personality, or it's basically like another character, or something that she could transform into, or just another form of the origin of Tefnut is Sekhmet, okay? So that is good to understand when it comes to understanding Sekhmet, is that she is one of the 3 forms of Tefnut, okay? So Sekhmet is the goddess who basically presides over Sekhem, okay? And Sekhem is the life force of all creation. So the life force of all creation is what Sekhem directly translates to. Now going back to Tefnut, Tefnut is that goddess of all creation. She's that force. She is that life force, okay? Now one of her forms, which is Sekhmet, sorry guys, getting tongue twisted now, but one of her forms, which is Sekhmet, is actually going to be that person that presides over the life force and energy of all creation. So Sekhmet is a powerful, powerful authority figure when it comes to her role, when it comes to her characteristics, when it comes to her as a deity and a goddess. She's known for her ability to really like take upon her opponents, to really take upon her enemies and to fight. Her actual name means powerful. So Sekhmet translates into powerful, okay? So when we go back and we look at Leo and you look at Lion, we already see some similarities here. We're obviously seeing that you have a lioness head and a woman's body. So it does take upon the form of a lion, where Leo also takes upon the form of a lion. And when you look at the star constellation of Leo, you'll come to see that it is obvious as to why they put a lion there. Now, when it comes to actually a debate or questioning whether or not it matters that it's a lion, which is more of a masculine figure, or if it's a feminine figure because of the lioness head, if you ask me personally, I would just say that from my own personal opinion, that when you look at lioness and a lion, and you look at what their characteristics are and their symbolism and how they act within nature, you will come to notice that the male lion is actually a lot more lazier. You know, he just lays around, and don't get me wrong, the male lion will be capable of still defeating its opponent and demolishing its prey. However, the lioness, when you pay close attention to nature, she's actually the one that's going out there and catching the prey and doing the fighting and doing a lot of the work. Whereas the lion, he really does spend a lot of time just laying around and sleeping. So if you ask me on whether or not, if there's an argument or a debate on, well, this is a lion, it's not a lioness, we can look even further deeper into the characteristics of a lion. And when you think about the characteristics of a lion overall, it is very masculine. It is very almost fatherly, but in a sense, like, it is very, very masculine in nature to be able to just aggressively fight your opponent to that level that a lion and a lioness does. You can go back and say that overall, having a lioness form can also carry that powerful aggressiveness towards it, as the Leo characteristics does. So Sekhmet, for me personally, definitely, I can say that it definitely fits the characteristics of the Leo constellation, people born under the Leo constellation as their sun sign, okay? The myth and the story behind one of the ancient Egyptian mythology and beliefs is that when Ra became an old man and his human subjects began to plot against him, he sent the goddess Sekhmet to punish them, okay? So she has that ability to really go against her opponent and fight against her opponent, okay? And she has the ability to protect. She is known as also as a protector as well, as far as her characteristics go, as a deity, as a goddess, okay? And when she, in this story, in this mythology, when she was sent by Ra to go ahead and basically go and get Ra's enemies, it was said that she nearly destructed all of humanity when she did it because of her power and her strength. That comes back down to the symbolism behind a lion or a lioness. The lioness and the lion both occupy that ability of having strength and power, which is what Sekhmet is all about. It's about being powerful, okay? And also all about being the protector. It also goes into being leader and having a leadership capability, which is very, very important to understand why this could obviously be the original name or the Kemetic translation for what they saw Leo star constellation as, okay? I wasn't there, so I don't know for a fact, but I would definitely say that it sounds just about right. It's making all too much sense, okay? So it was even said that she breathed fire against her enemies. And it was even believed that the hot desert winds were said to be the breath of Sekhmet. So when there were hot desert winds, that was always called Sekhmet's breath, the breath of Sekhmet, because she breathed fire, okay? So she had that aggressiveness to her. She had that urgency towards her, to her characteristics and to her personality as a deity and a goddess, okay? And even the military back then, apparently in Middle ancient Egypt, in Middle Egypt, in that time frame, that they were actually the kings and the rulers would call upon her, or they would use her energy as a patroness to basically make sure that they defeat their enemies when they went to war. So it was known as a prize, that it was basically reflecting the power that they had within them by calling upon the power of Sekhmet before going into war, okay? Now, let's get into her actual appearance, all right? So when it comes to Sekhmet's appearance, it gets kind of interesting because she has the lioness head and she has the woman's body. She also wore a long, thick wig. If you see all the statues of her and all of the pictures of her, she has like a long, thick wig. Which is interesting because it also goes in alignment with the lion or the lioness, and just having that regalness to you because you know that you are the ish, basically, because you're powerful and you're confident in your opposing threats or in your enemies, and you're confident in your ability to defeat. So you can have your hair loose and long and thick, okay, strength. She also, you know, she wore a long red dress, and this red dress could have been related to the fact that she was from the southern part of Egypt. It could have been native to that area, and it also could have represented her like ability to have so much her fiery energy. Basically, it could have represented her fiery energy. So anytime you see her pictures, you'll see that she's wearing a long red dress. And I wanted to read you guys a passage of a book which I found very interesting. This book is called The Complete Gods and Goddesses of Ancient Egypt. Okay, now this isn't where I got all my information from, because I had to go into different books and different sources and even different people and all those things. But in this book specifically, there is a passage that really brings things into perspective that I thought was interesting. It says about Sekhmet: sometimes her garment, the red long garment, sometimes her garment had a rosette pattern over each nipple, and while this has been suggested to reflect patterns in the shoulder hair of lines, it is perhaps more likely that the patterns reflect an astronomical symbolism of the shoulder star of the constellation Leo. Let me say that one more time, okay? Sometimes her garment has a rosette pattern over each nipple, and while this has been suggested to reflect patterns in the shoulder hair of lions, it is perhaps more likely the pattern reflects an astronomical symbolism of the shoulder star, that shoulder star you see inside of the constellation of Leo, which is marked in Egyptian astronomical paintings. Okay, guys, so yeah, you know what I mean? That really says a lot there. It really does. And like I said, this is The Complete Gods and Goddesses of Ancient Egypt. It's by Richard H. Wilkinson. The only thing I'll say about this book is a lot of the terminology is based off of the names from European descendant when they renamed a lot of the deities and the gods. So a lot of the terminology and a lot of the names of the gods and deities in this book is not its original name. It's not its Kemetic name, so it can get kind of confusing with somebody that's new to the information and trying to get that information. They should at least say both of the names in there, but they don't. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. So I'm strongly believing that Leo constellation, the star constellation Leo, I can strongly and confidently, for my own personal self, call that Sekhmet now. And I will be relating it to that, because at the end of the day, when we think about it, really, astrology is really one of those things where you have tropical astrology, you have Western astrology, you have Vedic astrology, and you have Chinese New Year's, you have Gregorian calendar, you have the Rosarian calendar, which is ancient Egyptian. And why not have an actual, you know, Egyptian or African-based zodiac sign as well? Why not? Especially if a lot of the gods and goddesses and deities that were taken to name some of these things, like Aries, god of war, that deity was actually taken from Kemet, okay? And some of these things, if it's coming from Kemet, then why not have a system where we as African people can at least have that awareness and knowledge? And those of us who choose to actually use African terminology or use ancient Egyptian terminology, we can actually do that, okay? So I really hope that this video could help those of you who are actually interested in following this or just knowing more about the goddess Sekhmet and knowing more about what the original constellation for Leo might have actually been, okay? And also, I'm going to put somewhere on the video the actual dates based off of the Rosarian calendar, okay? When you were actually born, that would make you a Leo, okay? Now, when I say based off of the Rosarian calendar, I'm talking about a fixed calendar. That's a calendar that does not need a leap year. It doesn't need any type of added extra manipulation. It's fixed. It's not perpetual. Like the Gregorian calendar, the one you know of today, is a perpetual calendar. So if your birthday is on the 15th, based off of the calendar that you know today, the Gregorian calendar, if your birthday is on the 15th this year, the next year is going to be on, if it's on a Thursday this year, the next year it's going to be on Friday. And then the next year after that is going to be on a Saturday. And then the next year after that is going to be on a Sunday. So it's a perpetual calendar. It's not fixed. It also comes after a bunch of calendar reforms. The original calendar started off in Kemet. And this is what you can call the Rosarian calendar. This is a fixed calendar, okay? This calendar does not need leap years. It doesn't need anything. If you're born on a Thursday, according to them, let's say you were born on a Monday, which would actually be called, Jehuti. If you're born on Jehuti, or if you were born on Sunday, which would be Ra, next year you would still be born on Ra. You would still be born on Sunday, okay? And the year after that, you would always be born on that same day if you followed the Rosarian calendar. It is a fixed calendar, okay? And it's the oldest and most original calendar, and it's one of the calendars that is actually most in alignment with how astronomically things move and time moves on this physical realm, okay? Not spiritually, but on this physical realm. It's in alignment with everything to the T, to the point where it doesn't need tweaking up. So you guys, this isn't all the information that you can find on Sekhmet. It's deeper. There's probably so much more that someone could say about it, but this is just what I've researched, and this is just me giving you guys the information that I thought was very useful and that I really hope could help you guys. Now, if you guys are interested in any of my healing services, once again, that is going to be something that you can look in the description box for below, and check out my website if you want any of my merchandise. Also, make sure that you like this video if you're liking it right now, so you can help support my channel, and subscribe to my channel as well. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that bell notification. That way you won't miss it anytime I make the next video, okay? So thank you so much for all of the support. I'm almost at 4,000 subscribers. I cannot believe it. Thank you guys so much, because without you, then I wouldn't even have that push. I wouldn't have that Sekhmet, I wouldn't have that Tefnut driving life force to even go forward to make the videos if I was getting 0 views and 0 subscribers. So thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you all inside of the next video. Bye bye.